The Minnesota Timberwolves are right in the middle of the pack in tough Western Conference. And while they aren't that great team that some people may have expected after giving up all of those assets for Rudy Gobert, they're still a team with a lot of potential. But of course, without their star center, Karl-Anthony Towns, their potential doesn't look as clear and potent as it once did. Towns is still recovering from his calf injury. He was averaging 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists before going down, and it's obvious the Timberwolves could use him right now. They're one of the worst rebounding teams in the league, and we all know Cat is an elite rebounder, so in that category and the scoring department, they definitely miss his presence. Timberwolves fans just wish they had another star to step up while he's gone. Well, wait a minute. They do have a 21-year-old who's been balling out this year. What's his name? Anthony Davis? Nah, that's not it. Carmelo Anthony? He's not even in the league anymore. Oh, yes. We're talking about Anthony Edwards. All jokes aside, Edwards has been balling out this year. He's averaging 24 points, 6 rebounds, and 4.5 assists while shooting 45% from the field, 77% from the free throw line, and 36% from 3 on 7 attempts per game. And one of the main reasons he's able to get buckets is because how elite of a finisher he is. He's 9th in the NBA in shots within 5 feet when you factor in attempts. He's shooting 60% on over 7 attempts per game. And not to mention, he's also near the top 10 in field goal percentage off of drives. And that's really no surprise. He's a super athlete. He has a 41-inch vertical, and not to mention he's 225 pounds of lean muscle mass. And over his last 11 games, he's ranked 8th in field goal percentage off of drives. So he's doing it on a very consistent basis. As of right now, he's scoring 10 of his 24 points per game in the paint. So it's safe to say he's very confident amongst the trees. And he's not just using his supreme athleticism and size in the paint, because he uses a lot of finesse and skill moves as well. He's been exceptional at speed changes similar to Luka Doncic. Edwards will zoom quickly to the rim, then right before he does the layup, he'll almost move in slow motion. And this move is so effective because it throws off the timing and rhythm for the defenders and shot blockers. And defense is all about timing. He's really been using a lot of extended finishes over rim protectors, and that's pretty difficult for your average player. But as you know, the Ant-Man is far from average. And for him to be this far advanced finding and getting to the rim this early in his career, it just makes you wonder how good he'll be when he officially enters his prime in just a few years. Something that's also caught our eyes this season is how patient he is coming off of Rudy Gobert screens before driving to the basket. Once he beats his initial defender, he slows down and analyzes the defense. Before, he would just blindly attack. And this is something all superstars do at an elite level. He's becoming such an inside threat that it's slowly opening up other aspects of his game, such as the mid-range. Edwards isn't a lethal mid-range scorer yet, but he is showing glimpses. We're not saying he isn't a threat from the mid-range, because he definitely is, but give him another season or two before he really starts picking teams apart with consistent mid-range jumpers. Honestly, he plays a lot like Jason Tatum in the mid-range. And sure, we know their games are totally different and Tatum is much taller, but they both have some of the best shot creating abilities in the NBA. They've got deadly dribble combinations combined with hesitation moves, step backs, turnaround jumpers, side steps. You name it, they can do it with the best of them. They just don't put a lot of emphasis into getting to the mid-range as much as players like DeMar DeRozan, Devin Booker, or Brandon Ingram do. But we can see this becoming a focal point of his game in the near future, because when he has it going from there, he's borderline unstoppable. And the form looks great. His balance is on point, and he has a soft touch from close as well. Another part of his game that's been coming along as well is his passing ability. Like we mentioned earlier, he's averaging 4.4 assists per game, which is a career high. He averaged 2.9 assists his rookie season and 3.8 last season, his sophomore year. And he's actually currently leading his team in secondary assists and second in potential assists. So even before D'Angelo Russell left for Los Angeles, Edwards was beating him in that stat. When we were talking about his scoring, we praised how he's been very patient this season, and it not only helps him at getting points, but assists as well. And that's no surprise, because when you slow the game down, you're able to see more open teammates, and it's much easier to make the right basketball play. And not only that, but he's just making straight up advanced reads more often now. And we're not saying he's an elite passer, and he might not ever be, but him being at least solid in this area could be huge. Because players like Kevin Durant, Giannis, and Joel Embiid aren't elite passers, but they're very solid passers who've become very good decision makers, good enough playmakers to where if you don't contain them, they can pick you apart. And although Edwards is much younger than those players, we think he can get to that point even faster than they did. But now, let's talk about arguably his most improved attribute, his defense. Anthony's currently 6th in the NBA in steals per game. Yes, 6th. We know you can't judge a player's entire defense off of steals alone, but it does give you an idea of how active they are on that end. When watching Edwards play defense, especially off-ball, he can fall asleep a lot and even seem disinterested at times. This is unfortunately because of effort. He just doesn't play all-around defense consistently. Some say it's because he has such a heavy offensive load that he slacks on defense to gain energy, and we're just not buying that. Our argument to that is, what about Jason Tatum, Giannis, Joel Embiid, Kevin Durant, and Kawhi? They all have to carry a huge offensive load, but they still play very good to elite defense consistently. It sort of feels like a cop-out. So again, it's all about effort. We're not trying to say Edwards is a horrific defender, because he isn't. In fact, he's quite good when he wants to be. When he's locked in and focused, he can be a borderline elite on-ball defender. We've seen time and time again how good his on-ball defense is in clutch moments and extremely important possessions. It just makes you wonder how good he could be, and the Timberwolves as a whole even, if he played like that on defense every single night. But also, again, he's just 21 years old, and he has all of the physical tools to grow into a great defender. Now he just needs the mental tools, and that is something that can be developed over the years with good coaching. Kevin Durant started his career as an average to below average defender. Now he's top 11 in blocks while being very switchable. Jason Tatum, he started his career as an average to below average defender as well. Now he's one of the best wing defenders in the entire league. And probably for the most accurate comparison, Andrew Wiggins came into the league as an inconsistent defender just like Edwards. And over the years, Wiggins has transformed himself into an elite defender who played amazing defense against Tatum in the finals last year. The point is, Edwards has all of the building blocks to become a really, really good defender. Now it's just up to him to put it all together. Now let's briefly talk about a few of his teammates, because after all, it's not a one-man sport. Rudy Gobert is averaging 13 points and 11 rebounds while chipping in 1.3 blocks, and while he definitely wasn't worth all of those players and picks combined, that doesn't mean he's trash or a bad center, because whether you like him or not, he's still a really good player in this league. He's 4th in the NBA in screen assists per game, so he's setting some of the best screens in the NBA, and he's making Anthony Edwards' life a lot easier, especially in the pick and roll. He's also 15th in contested two-point shots, so while he isn't the defensive player of the year candidate he once was in years prior, he's still an elite defender without question. Another elite defender on the roster is Jaden McDaniels, who's averaging 11 and 4 while shooting 38% from 3. He's a solid cutter who knows how to make himself useful when he doesn't have the ball in his hands, but on defense, he has his hands on everything. He's a superstar defender who can guard 4 positions at an elite level. So Edwards has 2 top-level defenders to not only learn from for the future, but to play off of for right now. Then you have solid two-way players like Kyle Anderson, Austin Rivers, Naz Reid, Taurean Prince, and Jordan McLaughlin. And don't forget, the big cat will come back at some point. All in all, Anthony Edwards is having a great season, and the more we watch him play, it's like he's getting even better in each and every category. He honestly has the potential to be one of the most complete players in the league in a few years. He can get to the rim, create for himself in the mid-range, make threes at a decent clip, can get his teammates easy buckets with his steady improvement as a passer, and he's a solid free throw shooter with high defensive potential. But what do you think? How good will Anthony Edwards become? And do you think he can lead the Timberwolves on a deep playoff run? Let us know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.